Alright, here we go. Time to fight King DDD. He's at Rainbow Fountain. He's got a hammer, and he's ready to destroy us. And he also is not wearing a crown. He should be wearing a crown. DDD can jump into the air. That's actually where his brawl move came from. He's got a hammer, and he can inhale you. That's also where his brawl move came from, actually. He also has the ability to fly, although it's not quite as graceful as Kirby. I think he's a bit better at it than Kirby is. So staying in the air is not safe like with most other enemies. There he is. But it's still safer than most things. I mean, his bouncing isn't amazing. But it works. He also takes twice as many hits as a normal enemy. 1 hit will do nothing, 2 hits will take off from his health. So he's got 12 health instead of the usual just, not 12. Nope, that one didn't take any damage from him. DDD is an interesting concept. Usually, the odds are stacked against the player in a game. That's just basics. You should be better than the enemies you're fighting because their AI is mechanical while you are human. And that holds true here, but what HAL did with DDD is make it so that DDD is basically an upgraded Kirby. I mean, you'll have games sometimes, like Legend of Zelda is a good example, where occasionally you'll fight a shadow version of yourself. And usually the shadow version is essentially just you. But in this, you're not fighting a shadow version of yourself, you're fighting a stronger version of yourself. It's interesting. And I like what they did with this. Of course, these days it would be kind of cliche to fight yourself, and we're not fighting ourselves, we're fighting DDD. It's especially interesting, I think HAL really likes doing that, because they did that also in the Meta Knight battle, where you're fighting a sword version, where you're basically on equal grounds with Meta Knight. You've got a sword, he's got a sword, and you fight him. And also, later on, they did a sort of a joke version of that in, I want to say Superstar Ultra, where you fight Masked DDD, and he gives you a hammer at the start of the fight, which is very funny. And now, level 8, the Fountain of Dreams, except not really. Oh, look at DDD trying to stop us, but Kirby says no. Kirby says, I'm gonna put the Star Rod back no matter what you say. Stop being annoying, DDD. I'm gonna do it, man, I swear. And then he smacks him, how rude. And then, life has returned to Dreamland, and, that's not good. That's not good at all. Actually, that's quite bad. But DDD acts quickly and launches Kirby into the air. And now a feature that's become staple in Kirby games everywhere, and that is making the last boss force you to learn an entirely new skill that you've never ever used before. Kirby's a platformer. Why are we doing a shmup-style shooter? Honestly. At the same time, though, I do actually like this. I like how Kirby does that. It makes the last boss just... they can be creative with it. In Kirby Superstar, you're fighting kind of similar to this. In Kirby Squeak Squad, you end up with the triple star hammer thing. Just every single Kirby game, last boss, different from all the others. I believe Kirby's Crystal Shards, I think it's kind of like this, but 3D, where you're fighting the dark thing. And also, I would like to point out that we do sort of have a time limit here. The background is changing, and eventually we'll be hitting the ground, but, yeah, that'll kill you. And also, I have no idea how to dodge those stars when they're like that, but as long as I have roughly half my health bar, I should be able to kill the final boss. Because this isn't it. We must keep going and fly to the moon. Yep, we're flying to the moon. Here it is, folks. The final confrontation. The fight with Nightmare. Literally, that's his name. This thing is called Nightmare. It's clever, I guess. We won't be fighting him on the Warp Star, unfortunately, even though Kirby's finally learned how to drive that thing. So sad, too. No, instead, we'll be fighting him on land, running at breakneck speed across the surface of the moon. Don't know how that works, but it works. Now, while Kirby's jumping, he can deal damage, so that's great for hurting things. And he also has the ability of launching his Star Rod around, which I think does more damage. But it's not that important how you kill this guy. Just as long as you kill this guy. He's actually not that difficult of a boss. Most of his attacks can be dodged by simply standing in one spot, but he can be interesting. As long as you hit him in the pixely area of his body, when his cloak is not showing, that's when you deal damage to him. And this fight is a lot easier than the previous one, that's for sure. Of course, I do have more of a limitation on how many times I can get hit this time, but it shouldn't make too much of a difference. Plus, you're immune to his stars while jumping, because the star rod does damage like a sword does. And he also makes a really funny face when he gets hit. It must be extremely painful for him. That was kind of close. But one more hit, and poor guy is dead. Let's put him out of his misery. There he goes. Goodbye, nightmare. And scream and die. I have beaten you. And the world is saved. Of course, the moon isn't. Poor moon took a little bit of damage there in the battle that somehow didn't kill Kirby, but yeah, Kirby really hates the moon. I think that's pretty clear at this point. He destroyed the moon on level 3, and he had to destroy it again now. Kirby fought to find the Star Rod, but King DDD did not mean any harm. Of course he didn't. I've been going over that this entire Let's Play. Kirby is the evil person here. Kirby is the one who was destroying everything. He even revived the Nightmare. He destroyed him in the end, yeah, so I guess there's that. But still, maybe if communication had been an actual part of this game, if DDD had just told Kirby, hey, here's what happened, I foiled the Nightmare, he's been sealed up inside of the fountain, you don't have to worry about it, I've got the Star Rod safe. Nope, Kirby might not have killed everything, but considering level 8's display of Kirby knocking DDD away and just destroying him, not sure if communication would have worked at all either. Then again, in the end, Dreamland will sleep soundly tonight, and Kirby did end up destroying the evil monster who probably would have done a much worse job at taking care of things than Kirby did, so when it all comes down to it, maybe Kirby's not that bad of a guy. I mean, he puts the Star Rod back with pretty good aim, I must say. To get it angled just right, that takes skill. Maybe Kirby isn't such a bad guy after all. Maybe he's just misunderstood. Or maybe he just can't control his own appetite. I mean, he is the protagonist after all. He can't be all bad. He's even waving at us goodbye. How friendly. I think my mind has changed about Kirby. He's a good guy. Oh look, he's using the throw power-up on Wispy Woods. That's just mean, honestly! Wispy Woods doesn't deserve throw. You can kill him with anything. You can kill him with the spike power and just sit there and... Never mind, Kirby's a jerk. Oh! And stone on the paint roller. I guess it works. It's not exactly the most normal weapon to use against him, but it works. And fireball on a fireball, that's just silly. I mean, the sun even uses a fireball at you, so what's the point of that? Oh well. Tornado on Krakow? Or Krakow. That's a city somewhere. The tornado on Krakow would be the correct pronunciation of that. I guess Tornado and High Jump are the two weapons you want to use against that guy, because they're both designed for aerial assault. And Umbrella on the Heavy Mole. Okay. Whatever floats your boat, I guess. I think the hammer would be smarter, but that was a pretty odd maneuver right there. Sword on Meta Knight. There's really no other way to fight this guy. In Kirby Superstar, you can opt not to fight him with the sword, but better to just fight him with the sword. It's the most logical attack to use against him. Was that a loop? Did the game tester get that thing into a pattern? That's kind of silly. And High Jump on DDD? Really? That's just silly. I mean, that's like the most unwieldy weapon to use against him, period. Actually, it's the most unwieldy weapon to use against anyone, but the player's doing pretty well, so I guess that works. And thus ends Kirby's adventure, and thus ends my technically first Let's Play. I mean, I've done the challenge runs, and I've done a couple blind runs of things, but an actual Let's Play, this would be the first time I've done it. Hey look, the extra game. Choose extra game to go on a more challenging quest. In this quest, you can't save and your max health is 3. And that makes things really, really hard. But you can do it, and you can also play bonus games if you want. You can play Crane Fever, Quick Draw, Egg Catcher, or do a boss rush. But, I won't be doing that. I'll just be, leaving. So, until next time, this is Kevvl, signing off. Ciao!